Well, good morning. So today we're going to talk about my absolute favorite plant to grow in the garden, and that's for several reasons. One, it's one of the easiest plants to grow. I feel like it is a plant that introduces people to gardening and growing their own food the easiest because it's easy to grow, it stores well, you can leave it in the ground. Everybody's familiar with cooking and eating them, and I grew some this summer, and in this bed right here where it looks like nothing has grown, I planted our potatoes along with some pumpkins in this bed, and it got a little bit cold and everything's died down. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to dig this up and see how many potatoes we got from this one little bed. So let's get started. We're just going to dig real quick. All right, I'm actually going to bring you guys over just because I think this is so fun and interesting. This is also something that kids really love to do. So you can see I just dug a little bit down. Potato in here. I grew russet Burbanks, these little guys. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to sift through this bed and see how many potatoes we can find. Now here's another one. It's so fun, it's like treasure hunting. Here's another little potato. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig this up and then I will show you my yield after that. So I dug it all up, and interesting because during the year the plants were growing very tall and large, the potato plants. Also inside the bed I had planted a couple of pumpkin seeds and let them spread out around the bed. And then as you can see, this particular bed, I actually planted it in this little gap between all of my fruit trees, thinking that I was taking advantage of a little bit of free space. And a couple of interesting things happened. One, I started digging it up and found that the fruit trees had grown underneath my mulch. I have some landscape fabric here, and they came underneath the mulch and then up into the bed, and the entire bed is full of fruit tree roots. So I think that hindered the growth. The pumpkins didn't do very well in this bed either, and you can see here I grew some potatoes, but this is a very disappointing yield from potatoes. You could have easily grown more potatoes than this inside of this bucket, which I will show you in another video. I think the takeaway from this is that a lot of times when you're gardening, you will try different things and have different levels of success, and then you learn and try something else, and every year you'll have successes and mistakes. And so what I've learned is, one, this is not a good location for the bed, so it's moving, and it might work for if I pulled the bed up, put a couple layers of landscape fabric down to keep the tree roots off, used a different soil, and then I grew some plants that were low light, maybe some like brassica type plants, like some spinaches or some kales or something that might do a little bit better with being out of the heat and the direct sunlight during the summer. But yeah, well, thanks for being along for the ride. Learn something new every year, and a little bit disappointing, but we have the rest of the